30 poems in 30 days. It's making for some pretty bad poetry. I'm only 6 days deep, and I hate it so much. But this is the first poem that I wrote for the month. Love is just the shadow of what your hands make. 1. I saw the plywood you nailed over the hole on the far side of the living room. You called it a wall because it didn't break when you leaned against it, or when you hit its plaster face with your one hand, laughing like your father with the throat your father made with his 2 hands. There are places in Antarctica where the ice grinds down 3 miles thick. At the banks of the Fore River, you nailed plywood over the corrosion in my chest, place where eustasis stems, called it heart because it did not speak when you asked it to. 2. Your father had holes in all of his shirts, and all of his shirts were rippled, white and sleeveless. His skin was white, sallow. I saw the machine whirring under all his skin. You told me, outside of the movie theater, about all the things I wouldn't believe that move under your white surfaces. Blood moves under itself down there. You've seen it. And I told you I wasn't jealous, even though you didn't ask. Your father's arms hung low over his thighs when he stood still, which wasn't often. The flat ovals of his hands shone low like a January fingerless moon. His eyes were rippled, white and flammable, irises like the tears in his shirts where the skin showed through. 3. He would grind down onto your dining room table. He'd love through that meal, love his way straight through your family with his big-bellied hands holding forks and spoons. He loved y'all, and nobody could say he didn't kiss those bruises into your cheeks, press his lips up and leave them there, that when he drew his fists up against you, lifeblood, he knew that those closed wounds should dry you upright, boy, girl. He would pull you up by the collar of your shirt, but did he have any idea about the dark weapon beginning to assemble in your chest? The dark weapon beginning to assemble in your chest. 4. There is a knife tucked over your lungs, making it so you can't breathe straight. But if anything is worth your breathing ragged, it's this, holding the weapon that lives in you. Blade made of shame and ticking jaw, the handle your mother, her thin arms and voice when she told you. When you feel your shoulders shaking, sit down. Let it subside. And there you'd stand, made of carbon. He spat and fucked with his 2 hands. He'd pull you up by your collar to bruise your neck straight, kiss your neck black as the love you ate every night. 5. Put too much milk on your cereal. You take Blue Jays as a sign of good fortune. You get good grades. You punch that boy in the mouth when he called you faggot from behind his notebook. You live inside your father's stare. You haven't slept in a bed since last August 6, yesterday. We drank ourselves seamless, like fish, like proverbial Russian peasants, all go down our bent Irish gullet. I told you, don't give them anything. And you didn't understand what I meant, and I didn't explain. I could feel your father through the ceiling, but this beast you call heart beats in my body, brother. The way your father gave you his namesake and built his house around you. Take a look at your 2 hands. Those fingerless moons, everything else is just a shadow of what they make. But your heart won't speak when you ask it to. Just think of what those hands could do.